I am invisible because that's just the kind of arty girl I am. Just kidding, I'm right here. Hello. What do we have here? Oh, what we have here is a very strange setup. I feel like I don't know if I can just take a seat and that's in frame. I have no idea. That might look ridiculous. I might be all the way down at the bottom. I can't see, but it's fine. Hello everyone, welcome. It is Untangled with Steph, another strange stream, but I think it's going to be useful in a strange way because art therapy is often looked at as strange, sometimes less than. It's seen as a bit hippy dippy, which I use that phrase way too often. I need a new alternative to hippy dippy. There's something I mean there that I'm not quite managing to get. But today we're going to be painting. We're going to be painting Bob Ross style. Now, I'm just going to like make this up in my head. I am somewhat of an artist, and my goal for this February is to do more art while I'm still focusing on my physical health goals and being able to do Tough Mudder. I'm also cautious that I want to try and get back in touch with that creative side of myself. So I am using my, let's get it out here. Oh, I'm dropping everything. Oh. Happy accidents. That's all this is. Happy accidents. And I would be stressing right now if I didn't understand the importance of, this is just so rattly. Focus. Perfectionism is not serving us at all. Let me bring this down a sec. Maybe that's better. I feel like that's better. I am using my different resolution guide. This diary is a lifesaver. If you've not got one yet, seriously, it's great. I don't know if you can see all these prompts here, but they have 12 different prompts that you can do throughout the year or throughout whatever kind of time you want. This is from us. If you go to a differenthumandesign.co.uk, go to the store, you can purchase one of these. I believe it's less than a fiver or a fiver. Or you can go to Amazon, also get your copy. It's brilliant and it holds you accountable to your goals. So this month I am trying to be more creative. So I thought a way that I could do that is by infusing our Untangled sessions with a little bit of therapy and a little bit of art. Hello in the chat. Do you from America? I am not. I'm from the UK. Hi guys, nice for you to join us. Oh, I get so nervous as soon as people do. Oh my god, I was on a roll then. But yes, we're going to be doing some art, Bob Ross style. Who knows Bob Ross? Who grew up watching Bob Ross? I used to love him. And I don't know if you caught the really strange thumbnail. I tried really hard at that. I had a vision, me as Bob Ross, and then remembered that one, couldn't be asked to get Photoshop out. I literally just used Canva, and then really couldn't be bothered to do it at great length, and it's come out quite cursed. So I'm hoping that the art that we do today doesn't come out cursed. I think it's going to be really good. But that's not the point. The reason we are doing art today is literally because it's a really good way of expressing yourself therapeutically. It's a really good way of uncovering things about yourself, to explore yourself, things that subconsciously don't naturally come up in your day-to-day life. There's also the ability to heal through art. And again, I will go through all these processes, but most importantly, focusing on perfectionism and how it's not serving us. So a lot of people would have initially adopted this perfectionism aspect of their personality because they needed to. They needed to survive. For neurodivergence, we are told way more than the average child what we're doing wrong. We make mistakes. We make happy accidents. And it really impacts our self-esteem. It's not fun for kids, and once the adult gets older and realizes what they've done, it's not fun for them either, you know? There's that two-way street. So, we're going to let go of the perfectionist side of us. We're going to try and do some Bob Ross, but we're not going to hold ourselves accountable if it doesn't turn out looking like a Bob Ross painting. It's just going to be of a really beautiful scenery. Again, hoping so. So, should we get started? The things that I've got are some acrylic paints. I don't have purple, and I really wanted a purple kind of scene. So I've got blue and a really dark burnt red. Crimson red. That will make a purple. And also, I bought this happy accident, we'll decide, this array of paints here, which, do they look glittery to you, just looking at them? They don't, right? People can agree there. It's got a purple in it, and I wanted a purple. But I've read it, literally says there, glitter paints. So that's on me really, because it's right there. So is this a happy accident? Will it look ridiculous with glitter on? I like glitter. I think glitter will be fine. Glitter might improve it. So I have my canvas. It has a few lines on it, but again, we're not trying to make this for any kind of museum. No one's paying me to paint this. It's not something that I particularly am going to want to spend a lot of time on. I just want to be expressing myself today. And what that does for me is relieve stress. The brain, the part of my brain that's been focused on decision making, in being someone that is just trying to manage daily life, just not being able to instill my creativity. Ugh, it's just not fun. But I get to start with this relatively blank canvas that isn't perfect. That's already starting on a non-perfect ground. So how is it making me feel? It's making me feel like I'm already going to maybe do something that isn't that good because I've not been able to start from that perfect moment. That's how that kind of instills in me. It's a very subtle feeling, but it's one that I'm noticing, and one that I'm just gently reminding myself that this is okay, that it doesn't matter. And it's weird just reminding myself that how much that actually has a really good impact on my self-esteem. It's like, okay, now I believe I can start. So to start with, I'm just going to start saying start a bit more. Putting some paint around the canvas. Again, starting with a very imperfect, like not precise planning method. So I want some white up here. Get that on there. I'm aware this is probably going to drip everywhere, but I'm hoping this makeshift easel will withstand the pressures. Who knows? I also do have water here next to my computer. If that falls, will it be a happy accident? No. So I'm trying to be really cautious of that. There's a few things going on here. So let's get some of this red in. Again, I don't want it to just be red. I want it to be purple. So I'm going to get that blue in there as well. just going to try and evenly dot that out with it. And that's it. I've got some purple here with some glitter. I'm going to see how this mixes first and then maybe add a little bit over it. I don't want to count it out because I feel like it might be the actual happy accident of this entire stream. So let's get our brush. It's a dry brush, and I'm literally just going to spread this paint willy-nilly, as they say, around this canvas. And I'm literally just doing it in any which motion. I'm just making sure that I'm covering this entire piece. So this is where we work out, did it make purple? Did it make brown? We'll see. So I'm just going to, it is generally making purple. I'm quite liking the shifts of red in this actually. And I realise I'm not going to be able to paint very much down to the bottom. But I quite like that. I'm going to add a bit more blue to the bottom. And I'm actually going to start putting that purple here at the top. This purple. What do we think? Does it look like a Bob Ross? Not really. Am I painting my shelf behind me? Yes. Happy accidents. Create beautiful artwork, even on my shelves. So I'm going to dry that brush off. This paper towel. And then I'm going to try and pull a bit more of the white over. There we go. And that's how I'm going to leave that first layer. And I'm sure you're thinking, what on earth is happening? So I'm just going to go back over and direct with some water the direction I want it to go, and I want it to be in this diagonal shape. I really like that. We're being really messy with it. We're fighting against that perfectionism. If something goes wrong, we can identify the feelings in the moment. How does it feel when something goes wrong? It's not something that you've purposely done wrong. You've not done it with malice or hatred. So why do we have that level of shame when we mess something up, especially something creative? We're going to leave a lot more tissue. I'm going to allow that to just kind of dry for a little bit. And we're going to think about what the composition is going to be. So this is a piece of canvas board. This isn't a thick canvas. And I like these because it means you don't have to paint the edges. There's nothing worse, nothing more annoying than you painting a beautiful picture and then you've got to try and either pull that colour around the edges the sides of the canvas, which you've got to then like remix the colours and make sure you're getting it right, and it can look a bit, or just either white or blacking it out. And it just, I feel like it ruins the touch of the painting. I personally don't feel confident doing it, so my confident way of producing art is on flat canvas boards like this. It takes that level of stress away from me, especially if it's for someone, that someone's paying me to do something, or it's a birthday present. That's when my perfectionism really takes a lot of my brain capacity, which can be a little bit detrimental to the project at hand. So in those moments, I'm not getting the recreational benefits that I would normally get from just expressing myself artistically like this. I feel like, for me, just being able to do whatever I want on a canvas, having that freedom, that's the opposite of perfectionism, right? It's freedom. It's that ability to just let go. So as I'm doing this, I'm fighting almost with feelings that regret. Did I make a bad decision? Is this the part where I just ruined it so early on? And again, that's a time to remind ourselves there is no ruining it. There is no making this worse. This is our piece. This is our artwork. This is for us, and for us only. I'm getting the feeling that I just want to push the paint around. So that's what I'm going to do. Happy accidents. I had no plan to do this. Bob Ross doesn't do this. We are being way more innovative than Bob Ross right now. How does that feel? Don't come for me, Bob Ross Foundation. I love you guys. How is it feeling for you looking at this? Was there an element of like, oh no, what is she doing? Did you feel a sense of kind of empowerment? Was there a bit of jealousy? Was there, oh, I wish I was doing some art right now, and you looked around and thought, I don't have any art materials. There's so many things that art brings out of us. And I just find it fascinating. I have no idea how that's looking, by the way. I keep looking at the monitor, but it's such a tiny version of me that I've got no idea really what this looks like to you. What does it look like to me? A load of purple with some white that's just kind of mixed in. That's all. I'm just observing it. There's no part of me that's going, oh, it's crap. Oh, it's no good. I need to start again. Even if that's how you're looking at it, if that's how a gallery would look at it, right now, this is about me being okay with me having freedom, letting go of that perfectionism. So I know for me, a real important part of learning how to be an adult with ADHD was learning that the least amount of mistakes I made, the better someone seemed to treat me, seemed to welcome me. I know my parents were a lot happier with me when I wasn't knocking things over, when I wasn't just making mistakes left, right, and centre with the words that I said, with the actions that I did, just generally how being a kid manifested for me. It really taught me that me being me wasn't good enough. And I adopted these levels of perfectionism that in turn really just stopped me doing a lot of things. They caused this paralysis almost in like, how do I combat these feelings that I've had for so long? They are hard to get rid of because for a long time, like I said, they were helping me survive mentally. If I could prepare so much that I was perfect at something, then I wouldn't be able to fail. The problem is, if you're not naturally good at something, generally starting anything new, you're not going to be very good at it. And day one of trying things, my perfectionist side of me will kick in and be like, you've got no business doing this. Starting to do a podcast, there was so many problems at the start with, am I getting my hair in this? There were so many problems at the start with audio. Still to this day, we haven't masked the audio. We've got this whole setup, and then YouTube pushes these shorts way more. If it's filmed on my phone, which is like baffling. I don't understand how I'm supposed to produce quality content on my phone. But that's what's getting the coverage right now, so that's what we're doing. And it's learning to let go of these ideas that I had about being perfect, watching my favorite YouTubers, my favorite podcasters, and seeing how great they are, and thinking I could do that. And on day one, when I'm not doing that and it's not working out exactly as I planned, then what do I do about that? I can't let it be part of my self-esteem. And this is what we do. This is a really common thing that people do. This is something that we learn so early on. We learn that if we can just be perfect, if we can just get things right, then everything will be okay. It's a level of control that we try to have. It is a defense mechanism, a survival mechanism. So like I say, when we're trying to do things like this, sometimes you might feel like you're really fighting against those feelings. Practice makes perfect. 100% practice makes perfect. And if for whatever reason you don't get to perfect, that's okay. That wasn't meant to be the thing you're perfect in. But you're so right. Practice makes perfect. You can't start day one. If you saw the episode with James Graham, who is the tattoo artist that did our tattoos, the one on my neck, the two on my neck, and Lindsay's got a few from him. He was saying about, because he also plays the guitar, writes music, can tattoo really well, draws very well. And people would say to him, God, I wish I could do what you do. When I've drawn things in the past, I've heard it the same, God, I wish I could draw like you do. And I was never able to put it into words quite like James did. Because I'd be thankful of the compliment, but I'd almost be like, you could as well. And this is exactly what James was saying. He was like, I didn't start tattooing day one perfectly. I didn't start drawing or playing the guitar perfectly. This is something that you put time and practice in. So to almost say, oh, I wish I could be as good as you as that, it's almost like you could be if you applied yourself. It's very much a possibility. Yeah, naturally when we're young, we're drawn towards things. Mine was art because that was something that I was good at as a child. Something that you are good at as a child is something that you will be drawn to doing as a career because you know that you're good at that thing. If for whatever reason you grew up in a nice, happy, healthy home and you got to discover yourself the authentic way that our current school system wants you to, then good for you, 100%. Like, I'm sure you're doing perfectly right now, in which case none of this probably affects you. You make mistakes and you're like, that's fine. For some of us, this mistake making, it can be debilitating. It stops us leaving the house. It can stop any kind of personal growth. We know that when we go outside of our comfort zone, that is where we expand our comfort zone. Do you understand? It's like Fortnite, the opposite way round. You've got that center. That is your comfort zone. But then the area spreads. And this is now the comfort zone because you've spent so much time in it. It's normal to you. So you have to make sure that you're growing again. And for me, perfectionism is something that has been a long journey of trying to get right. Realizing it is something that I have to persistently observe and correct with myself. And we can all do this together. I'm not gonna lie, I do keep looking at this like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. We are going to make some clouds. Some happy clouds. Some happy little clouds, as our Bob would say. So how are we going to do the clouds? Let's think. First, I want a dark colour. I want this purple again. So I'm going to put some purple on my palette down here. And I'm going to take a brush that looks like this. I'll do the influencer thing. It is round. It is kind of thin and fluffy. It's already got paint on it, dried a little bit, so I'm going to just flick that out a bit. What are we saying? All the great artists of the world are not born great, 100%. They worked hard over many, many hours. Be kind to yourself and allow yourself to fail. Yes. Once you've got to grips with failure, be relentless. I love that sentence. Once you've got to grips with failure, be relentless. That's so powerful and strong. I want that on a t-shirt. Should we make some merch? Literally, Dwight K. Schrute with that saying in front of it. I love that saying. That's so good. I need to remember that. I need to come back to the chat. If it was shorter, I'd put it in the title. Maybe it will fit. Oh, I love that. You've really got my... Can you tell? I'm excited about that one. So let's get these clouds. Let's see what we can do. So I'm going to just bring the clouds in from the edge. So I'm just going to do a kind of cloud shape. How do you describe a cloud shape? It's a cloud, right? It's just a happy, fluffy cloud. That's all we're doing. And your fluffy, happy cloud might look completely different to my happy, fluffy cloud. But that is okay. I love the idea that some people are following along at home, by the way. That's so funny. And the idea that some people are literally just watching. I know for me that if I was just watching, I'd be like, where are my paints? I need to get my paints. Also, don't be an idiot. That's a really good bit of sound advice there from Dwight K. Schrute. Take that in your strides, literally adopt that message there. That is a PSA if I've ever seen one. Don't be an idiot. What give me some examples. How could one possibly be an idiot? Okay. Get a few more in here. And what we're going to be looking at is, in this corner here, is generally the lighter area that I've made. So we're going to keep that as where the sun is. So we're basically going to be understanding that the light will be coming from this direction. So by using dark and light, we can create that illusion that there is light. Clean that brush off. Because then we're going to find the horizon. Now, I think I want the horizon to be halfway. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to take that colour again and just try to do a bit of a straight line. That just kind of gives me a marker there, that top bit. I'm not too bothered about the bottom because we're going to be changing that, but it just gives me an idea of where that horizon is going to feel. It's going to sit. This paint is very wet, I'm not going to lie. So for this, we want to bring that foliage in again, that far away trees. So for that, I'm going to turn my brush on its side and in an upward motion, just kind of direct those trees in the background. Now I'm feeling like this could be a little bit darker. So I'm going to mix it with some blue. Just a little bit of blue. As I get to the centre of my my canvas, I'm just going to pull it out, make it a little bit thinner. Again, trying to direct those shapes upwards. How ridiculous is that looking? Look before you cross the road. That's a very good tip. And actually, a very useful tip for our international visitors of the UK. This is quite a cultural difference for many people. I know in Japan, many places in Asia, I am going to get this paint all over me. Many places in Asia, you will see that the way pedestrians kind of have a way bigger right of way, they can just walk into the street generally, and the rest of the people will start going, and the cars just stop. You've kind of just got to go for it in these countries, and it works. So quite often, I'll give you an example. I was looking after a group of Taiwanese students. There was about 14 of them, and it was with a charity called Charmwood Arts, where we have a link with Taiwan, and some of our students go there, they come here, and we show them places like Nottingham. We show them places like York, Cambridge, um, so that they can learn our culture through different mediums, whether it be art, through politics, through socio-economic projects, local groups, communities, volunteering. And they're really great guys and gals. They teach me very many swear words in Taiwanese. But I digress. The whole day I am spent just counting their heads. Like, have I lost anyone? I was so worried because they'd just kind of like stop and look at something, want to take a picture of it, and then just like stand back into the road. Like I could just see them into traffic, and I'm constantly all day trying to pull them back. Go, come back. How do you feel about the one China policy? As in how Taiwan and China, their relations, as in like who, I don't think I'm familiar with the one China policy. Is it their economic status? Describe that a bit more for me. I'm an idiot. When I talk about politics, I am an idiot. I don't know anything. I just see certain things as glaringly obvious, I suppose. I think my point is that if I'm an idiot and I get it, we should all be getting it. Should get some. In terms of China, while I'm waiting, my general views on China. Manufacturing powerhouse. They've really managed to utilize how they produce goods. It is at a substantial rate that no country can compare. In the same factories, you will find high priced items along with the tack. The same manufacturers are making the same thing. We've tried to adopt this over here where, you know, Kellogg's will make a version of the Audi brand's version. You know, when you look at Harvest Moon, who owns that, you can see how we've tried to adopt those manufacturing processes. But it's unmatched. Is it ethical? The way that their factories run, bringing people over from Korea, North Korea, and basically allowing them to work for absolutely F all, just for that brief moment of time out of their country, knowing that they'll have to go back. Do they pay everyone well? I'll leave you to decide that. Yeah, I don't know if it's quite as ethical. However, do I believe that the practices within the West are any more ethical? No. Do I have a problem with China spying on my data? No, because the US does it anyway. Why is China and Russia seeming to like Trump? I think that's because they can see he is the quickest downfall of America. and they're almost like cheering it on, um, which can feel a little bit embarrassing sometimes. I don't know. I was meaning the whole Taiwan shenanigans. Yeah, so is Taiwan its own place? Does China own Taiwan? It depends who you ask, right? There's many people who will say that it's kind of like the South and North divide of America, and should you consider them different places in America, because that's basically a similar situation, right? For me, um, I'm not Chinese, nor am I Taiwanese, therefore I don't think I should have a say in it. Not my business. Don't want to make it my business. Um, the Taiwanese people that I spoke to, that they'd come over, the only people that I can give like my first-hand account of um, people I've met from Taiwan is they consider themselves Taiwanese. Um, they consider that they are used to be Chinese and that now they are Taiwanese. um, so yeah, I have no idea. What's your view on the whole situation? Do you believe that Taiwan is part of China? Do you believe that they're their own state? How do you feel about it? Um, I hope I've gone through that well. I'm just putting off doing this. What have I started? Let's get some trees in, some happy trees. So I'm just going to block in all these shapes. I'm going to take that same colour and just, you know this shape. You know this shape. Now it's becoming a Bob Ross tutorial. Now it's becoming... That's all it needed. Just some wispy little trees. And I'm just blocking that out. And needing more paint, might I say. So as the closer you get to the foreground, the darker objects will appear. So I'm adding that purple to the blue. And then I'm going to add some red as well again. And then we're going to mix that up on the sheet, on the palette. Did I say sheet? Sounded like I'm trying to say something else. Insane. I believe they have the right to be their own country. 100%. It's generally how I feel about most places. Especially if it's currently established, like, what are we going to do? Like, just change stuff? Like, just, come on. So can I assume that's your stance on Palestine and Ukraine? I would assume so. Right? Well, that wouldn't make any sense. Okay, and right here at the bottom, we're going to get some more foliage. So I want some more uneven tapping. Really give those darker vibes along here as well. We're just gonna add them. That's all we're doing. Just adding them as we go along. And sometimes by adding new ones, we're getting rid of the ones that we've made behind them. And that's okay, because we're just building the shapes. We're building the idea of what's there. This is an impressionist type. This is not realism. Realism is when you've got uncanny detail. When you think of like old Renaissance paintings or like your Michelangelos, we're not doing that. This is much more of your Van Gogh, if you like. I'm just blending in some of the different colours from the top into the bottom. Why am I doing this? Because I don't want to just keep using a load of paint and I seem to be going through it quickly. Not everything is an artistic decision, right? Yeah, I think trying to make a point that one person doesn't deserve the right to be in a place they live is ridiculous on both sides. 100%. And then it comes to like the idea of is it a one state or two state solution? And then it becomes more difficult, right? This idea of should Israel exist? A lot of people say, why should there be a home for a religion? Not understanding that it is actually an ethno-race. It is DNA. And you can see there's Ashkenazi, there is your more African, Moroccan, your Arab Jew. There's so many different kind, which is what's also baffling, right? I am full pro-Palestine and always will be. I guess I forgot what point I was going to make there, but maybe that's a good idea. Maybe before my views start tanking because I'm talking about politics again. It's important though, right? I think so. I feel like it is. It's just it's actually I've not really spoke about that. There's an internal conflict that goes on. I'm using some blue now, this lovely light blue. There is a internal conflict about completely expressing my views, and I realise that it might come off like I'm talking about, I say I'm stupid, I am stupid, half the things that like, but at the same time, I understand what I'm saying. I'm just cautious of saying the wrong thing on a channel that I share with another woman that doesn't necessarily always have the same political views as me, so I don't want to represent her by the things that I'm saying. I always try to say what I think, but at the same time, I'm trying to battle the view count, right? So it's horrible. It makes me feel like a little bit of a sellout. You're like, how do I maintain my authentic self, like we always talk about here, while balancing an on-screen persona. That persona, that mask, that's what we talk about when we talk about masking. It doesn't just occur in autistic people. Masking is something that people do to fit in. Again, it's a survival technique. It's camouflage. It's, no, I'm just like you, don't worry about me. Don't come for me. And when we live like that, we live in a state of constant trying to survive. It's not good for us at all. It really isn't good for us. So I'm just trying to define that middle ground again before I get more of this foliage back in here. So I got some of that blue, and that's because I want to pretty blue lagoon. Look at that. The difference that makes. Ooh, she's Bob Ross. She's Bob Ross. I'm trying to read the comments through screen there. Let's move that over actually, if it's easier to do it. I'm all in and out of the screen. Realism is when you wake up in the morning and realise you don't have any milk. That is a realism, 100%. That is realizationism. That's breakdown worthy. I say it as a grown ass adult. You're warranted a meltdown if that happens. I understand. Someone came into my therapy suite and said, I had an absolute meltdown this morning. I went to go and get my coffee and there was no milk. I'd be like, I'm more shocked you didn't kill anyone, you know? Let's let that go. Go you. So right now what I'm doing is taking that brush over, but the paint underneath it is very tacky. So it's creating this pull motion with the white, with the pink, purple, sorry. And as I bring it down more into this foreground, I'm able to bring this purple colour up to it. Do you see? Do you see it? Do you see it? Yep. Solo YouTube career when? Never! I need my lens. I need my lens. Speaking of which, tomorrow night is members only stream. Who has signed up for Patreon? If you go to patreon.com/a different human design, for as little as £1, and that's our 7 p.m. members only stream with both of us. And we've got some special guests tomorrow. We are mixing up what used to be U Club, a monthly community club that we ran. Oh, I've got hair in my nose. Excuse me. Did anyone see the edit that I'd made on Instagram? Of me talking during the last stream. I tried to go back on it to find like some highlights that I could post on social media and realised how unsettling I actually am to watch online. I'm constantly fidgeting, pulling my hair out, like pulling bits, like just pulling the weirdest faces. How do you guys put up with me? Politics, aliens and painting. Is that what you think? Is that what I could have? Do you know what? That will pretty much be what tomorrow is. You need to be there for Lindsay. Lindsay is the alien girl. She might actually be an alien. I think that would make her very happy if she found that out. Lindsay is our resident white witch. She practices all kinds of natural healing and witchcraft, feminine channeling, energy, all of that. Right now, her thing is Venus, the planet Venus. So, if you want to get a bit more on the conspiratorial, on the alternative way of viewing, tomorrow night will be the conversation for you. And it will be during another art session, to be honest. We are going to be painting plant pots. Ain't that cute? So I'm going over again with this fan brush, which is quite dry, but it's allowing me to pull that previous layer down much easier. And from there, I would like to add a bit more blue to the sky here to show that that is what's being reflected below. So we're going to just add that in there. Hope that works out. I'm completely making this up as we go along, by the way. Anyone that's joined, they're like, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm making it up. I saw a Bob Ross thing and was like, I could do that, right? And I think that's the problem with the ADHD brain, right? We're like, oh, I could do that. That's just a case of being creative. I'm creative. And then we start doing it, and then the perfectionism kicks in. And it's like, no, 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 no. God, I was so ready to do this, and now I just don't want to do it because I'm already not good at it. This first second. Which, like, makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. I'm just trying to add some of this dark paint that's still on this brush. It's like on the side of the brush. How are we looking? Need to talk about the Tic Tac off the coast of America. The Tic Tac? What's a Tic Tac? I mean, I know what a Tic Tac is. I know what a physical Tic Tac is, but what do you mean? What is the Tic Tac off the coast of America? Which coast of America? Do we need to be alarmed? Is it an alien, a UFO, or a UAP? What are they called now? If I got that right. What? I got that right. Okay, I'm taking a clean-ish wet brush. Wet-er brush. I'm just going back over a lot of these shapes in the background. And then with this white again, we're going to leave a bit up here so that I can keep bringing it down with my paintbrush. But most of all, I want to really lighten up the piece now. You see? How we're adding those light reflections. And I'm doing this by just getting a tiny bit of that white up there. And thicker in the middle and just pulling it out. Ever so gentle. And I can bring that down all the way to the bottom there. So remember understanding that the darker it is, the more in the foreground it is. So we want to be making sure that back here is much lighter. Than what's down here. So with another wet brush, I'm going to take this purple here. Bring that up. Bring that out straight because I can see that looking. If the lines aren't straight, it really messes with the illusion of it. I have that type of brain, but I push through it. You're correct. UAP. Wait. Yeah. Ceilings. I've been listening to you. Oh, hard bit of paint in there. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. So let's carry on making this corner white, really lightening it up. Might be a bit too much still, but that's fine. Because what we're going to do is take that fan brush again. It's still got some leftover purple on, so we're going to wipe that off. We don't want that. We're going to take some of this white here, and we're going to start drawing some clouds. Now the direction that I want to take here is just a slight little backward C. Just a slight little backward C, and I'm going to keep going back in. Remembering that the light is here, right? So we're making sure that the light hits it in the right place. And again, this is just willy-nilly, wherever you want them to be. By going over it, you'll see that it gets rid of the brightness. But that's just creating more texture. That's the texture that we want. We want this difference in light and dark so that we can see foreground, we can see the definition. So my clouds, they're going to come out a bit further. How are they looking? How's the screen? What are they saying? Does anyone do art in the chat? How are we with our artistic expression? Is it something that we do regularly? Is it something that we've not done in a while? Is it something you've never done? Have you thought, oh, I can't draw, I don't bother? Because you know what I'm going to say, if that's the answer. Not good enough. Not good enough indeed. Even if you can't draw, I strongly suggest every so often just grabbing a piece of paper and just letting the pen go where it wants to go. If you're someone, especially if you look at someone that draws and you're like, oh, I wish I could do that, there's no reason to be stopping you. Get that out of the way. So now my C strokes have now turned into just flat, sideways motion. Again, just trying to create this illusion of the clouds. And I'm just going to bring that in. By just bringing that down a bit, we're creating light cloud mist, some lower cloud sectioning. It's not thick clouds, but because it's just over the water, we're getting some mist. We're getting some darker weather, I believe, is happening over here. It definitely like a storm is coming. That's how I feel is happening. What do you see? Because if you see something that I don't, please put it in the chat. I started oil painting during COVID. Oil painting is very unforgivable and takes a long time to dry, which actually I'm starting to wonder, is this oil paint and someone's pranked me because it's not drying very quickly. But oil paints, wow, that is a skill in itself. Got a couple on the wall. Bob Ross was my inspiration. You know, during COVID, I think a lot of people really took to Bob Ross. I've actually got, I think they're behind. No, I won't be able to reach them, unfortunately. They're behind this setup. But we did our own too. It kept us sane. Definitely kept us sane. So well done for doing that. And isn't that interesting that so many people turn to art during this time? It's almost as if everyone was just kind of begging for this ability to express themselves and let out this pent-up energy. Did art in school in the 1990s. Hell yeah, continue. Strongly continue. And if you ever do anything and you're like, yo, I did something, send it. Please. I would love to see. The email address is a different podcast official at gmail.com. I will always get that wrong the first time. Such is life. Such is ADHD, right? I'll always get it wrong the first time. And that's okay. I did see talented, beautiful lady or whatever. That was such a nice message. Thank you very much. Storm brewing, 100%. I've got no patience. Do you know what? That is more of a reason for you to have a go. Seriously, it is definitely worth going and having a look at, because that element of patience is something that we can harness through activities like this. So I'm just adding that detail in again. Now that I know where that was going to sit, we've gone in with a darker version. And then I'm going to take another brush and I'm going to pull that down. Let's add a bit of the previous colour. Get some of it off of there. And just create that shadow. See, I'll just pull in that little bit of white down. It allows us to create that reflection on the water. I just feel so like, because I'm the same, mate. I'm so impatient generally in life, but when I do something like this, I could just melt away. I could just really start to relax, and that's exactly why I do this. If I could gift anything to you, it is this. To go and treat yourself to some cheap paints from the range. I think this set of, how many colours? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 colours. It was £3 from the range. The Paintbrushes were, I think, 180, 190. It's easy. I'm on the way. You can teach me how to hold the brush. You can hold the brush however you fit. I'm like button pusher number one. Big fan of the range. I love the range. What would we do without the range? It's a cultural phenomenon in this country now. Yeah, how do you paint? How do you hold the paintbrush? However you want. We've seen so many people, their brains break, bless them, when you try to force this way of doing things. We've seen left-handed people being forced to use their other hand, and it doesn't necessarily create the neatest handwriting that you want. It doesn't create this. You can see how it helps form this dyspraxia, how this clumsiness, this inability to use our dexterity like we wish to. It can be very difficult for people. So I say, hold it however you want. The ADHD brain generally holds things like this, and you'll notice on this finger here, or this finger, and you'll notice that you have a bump on one of your fingers from where it rests. And this is generally because ADHD has a common comorbidity of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which has the characteristics of hypermobility. It creeps people out. How's that look? I'm trying to see. Hypermobility, stretchy skin, easily dislocating joints. There's a load of things that tie into it. But one of them is because your joints are a little bit bendy and weird, you'll find that carrying heavy plates can make your fingers feel like they're about to just dislocate. Naturally, holding a pencil the way that people are taught means that you have to have this strong, straight finger that can bend in a really sort of, it's unnatural to me. I need this support here. One finger's on top of another, literally creating that support, and the top two are showing where it's going. This thumb is there for support. And that is literally how I hold a pen. I generally do it like that. And can you see how my fingers bend? I can't do this. That's unnatural. My fingers want to bend, hyperextend, like that. Teaching me like I'm a 45-year-old dog new tricks. You can learn to paint at any age, literally. There's people that go to art classes that I go to that are 60. They've just started doing their watercolours. Your wife has EDS. Did I pronounce it right? Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I always seem to, I say it, I can say Worcestershire better than I can say Ehlers-Danlos. My problem is getting started and setting up. I'm a lefty that's playing golf right-handed. That's really interesting, and you've got a good swing doing that. Because there's also this element of some of us can just naturally use both, this ambidextrous side. Again, forcing someone to write whichever way in that sense. You should be just letting people. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to say right here, right now. I don't think the way you hold a knife or fork, a pen, has anything to do with whether you're left-handed or right-handed. I've seen so many people hold the knife and fork in the opposite way round when they're supposedly of the other hand, dominant hand. So yeah, have a look at your wife's fingers. Does she write like this? Because not everyone with ADHD has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I don't believe I'd be diagnosed right now. My condition doesn't affect me. I'm just very hypermobile. I dislocate really easily. My skin is stretchy, and I'm constantly sat in like a weird position. Right now, I don't know if you can see, I've got one knee on, and the other knee is just like doing a weird thing behind me here. I suppose you can't really see. But let's add some more foreground. We're going to do that with this white. So I'm going to cross with the white, and then just down here, do the same as we did for that cloud. As we go into the cloud, we can see how it changes the shape of that a bit more. Let's get some grass at the bottom maybe, see how that works. You can see that it's creating this snowy light effect. We can get some on the trees as well. This is where our Bob Ross would use one of his sculpting knives, the palette knife, to get that texture. So what do we think? How is that looking? To me, that is a beautiful scenery. And there's something that is missing. I want to add something that's called the God beam. What is the God beam? The God beam is beams of light that stretch across the canvas coming from the source of light, which is our sun. And to do that, we can do a bit of a cheat where we have a ruler. Does your girl have a ruler? Should we let people answer that? Of course she doesn't. Of course she doesn't. So, we're going to one bomb it. Okay? From the light source, we're just going to bring it one light source. I'm going to clean this off again so it doesn't just do the same thing. Bring it down. Oh. Woo. So much of my brain's like, have I ruined it? I suppose that's for other people to decide. I think that's really cool. For a quick, how long have we been here? 1 hour, 20-minute painting. I think we've done a pretty good job. How have I felt during it? I felt levels of pressure being watched. I generally am good at painting. If I give you an example of something I started a long time ago that is very dirty. Sorry, so much mess. That is something that I painted. I can't think of any other examples around here right now that isn't this dirty. I started this years ago and just abandoned it. But generally, I can draw. So not being able to fully show that, it brings up a level of my own pride that I didn't really know existed. It was kind of a shock to me. Each making decisions that I'm trying to be free, but realizing that I'm also trying to make good content. And it's this internal conflict again of like being authentic, doing what I'm saying, practicing what I'm preaching, but at the same time, hoping that it goes well. You know, I want it to still look good and for people to add, to subscribe even. Subscribe. Nervous. And like the video, because ultimately we try and chat here about all kinds of things, mental health. I'm sure one day someone will join the chat with a dire question that we'll all be able to gather around and help them. But until then, we can talk about everything and anything. that we like, because this is our community that we're building, our little lunchtime community. So that's the idea of this. That's my dream. I have a dream. Did you know it's Black History Month? Have you read your Black History? I'm going to sign off now and I'm going to instruct you go and learn about Black history. Did you know, for example, I'll start you off, Samuel L. Jackson was arrested when he was at Philadelphia, was it Philadelphia, Atlanta? He was at a university, I believe in Philly. He kidnapped a dean during a protest for a Black rights movement. And then shortly after Martin Luther King was shot, rest in peace, his mother, Samuel L. Jackson's mother, was like, you're not living here anymore, you're getting out, you're going to do something else. And she sent him to LA, where he became an actor. That is my little bit of Black history, because I think that's so effing cool. Yeah, she's very hypermobile, bless her. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, right? Shout out to my Ehlers-Danlos lot. Prayers in the chat. The only way you ruin art is destroy it. Yours looks great. Congratulations. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And 100%, the only way you can destroy it, that can ruin it, is by destroying it. And a way of doing that is by physically destroying it, and also like mentally, psychologically destroying it. Like, this was a part of my soul today that we got to do together, and we got to enjoy together, and hopefully laugh at some silly bits. Maybe inspired you to go and get some painting done, but definitely inspired you to go and learn about Black history. So I will see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Go to our Patreon / a different human design. If you go to our website, a differenthumandesign.co.uk, then you can find the links to everything there. If that's easier for you. Tomorrow night, 7 to 8, we'll be doing more art discussing with Alien Chat. I will promise you Alien Chat. So make sure you're there. If not, I will see you on Monday. Thanks very much, guys. I'm going to disappear again now.